live here with Imperator Rome, the 02 version, Imperator Rome 02 Marius update. That's what we're going to be taking a look at today in a live stream. So let's start recording an episode as well. Welcome, fellow armchair generals. This is, I don't like this start. Welcome, armchair generals and classical enthusiasts. This is Gamer 1745, and we're going to be taking a look at Imperator Rome 2.0, the Marius update, along with all of the DLCs. And we're going to, in furtherance of that, we're going to be looking at Egypt as one of the nations that get new content. I really find this period very much of interest. I sort of have an interesting fascination with the Ptolemies, but not just the Ptolemies. I'm also the Seleucids, the sort of, Greek successor, Basileus. I don't really know exactly how you would say that. Is it Basileus? Basileus? That word there. That come in the wake of Alexander the Great. Alexander's death, and I know there'll be a bit here about it. I guess I like, more or less, I like the world the way it is today, so the events needed to happen, I guess, to make it the way it is today, but I do think it's one of the lost turning points in history is Alexander's early death. So we're going to be playing here, looking mostly at the game, but talking about this. So we're going to play as Egypt. Antigonid, if you can successfully play the Antigonids, and it's as difficult as it should be, that's an advanced level. Egypt is one of the easier of the great powers here, I would say. But I'm not playing because it's easy. I'm playing because I sort of find Egypt cool. What I find, and I definitely as a kid, I had a fascination with ancient Egypt, not this Egypt, the Egypt, that was building the pyramids and the Valley of the Kings and all those kind of things. But that mixed with the Greek influences in Alexandria to make a really interesting cultural look there. So yeah. And of course, as we get started here, if you're new here, please subscribe or follow on Twitch. Love to have you around more often. Okay, 18 years ago, the Agriad king, last names are not and maybe as well defined as we would today. Argiad, and I'm not used to saying, but King Alexander III died suddenly. Alexander the Great is what I'm talking about, of course. In Babylon at the age of 32. In the 5 years preceding his death, his continuing military success had reshaped the world known to the Greeks, his empire stretching uninterrupted from Egypt to the Indus. And he really was thinking the Indus, and then, a little bit of, India on the other side of it, not India that we see here, and then he was going to be at the edge of the continent. Man, they did not know what was really out there. The suddenness of Alexander's early death and his lack of success at reshaping the world. No, to the Greeks, yes. They did know the world to the west, and Alexander was going to get there eventually, but obviously he didn't. Sudden death, early death, and his lack of chosen successor. That I would dispute is sent shockwaves through the hierarchy, satraps, and the generals who attended him, splintering his empire into elements ruled by these potentates styled the Diadochi. That's these guys here. That's Alexander. For many years, they and their successors have been locked in a bitter struggle for the future of the empire. drawing all nations within their sphere of influence into the conflict. The wars of the Diadochi will surely continue. Perhaps it is up to Egypt to decide how they will end. And hello, Rocco, how you doing? Have you tried out the new DLC? Really revamping, massively revamping Imperator Rome? Okay. You're going to hear me complain about things through this, like one of them. I don't know whether it's just people's expectation, but why this is called Egypt, and this gets to be called the Antigonid Kingdom and the Seleucid Empire. This I would really call the Ptolemaic empire, if you will, and it does grow. Mostly really liking it. I've played it for an hour plus, maybe a little bit more earlier today, so I really haven't gotten in very far into it. I definitely like that inventions you no longer pay money for, but I'm not entirely sure what determines your we have 8 innovations now. I'm not entirely sure what generates that, and we're going to get to that very soon. I like the idea that inventions, and you click on these, now have a tree, if you will, because sometimes you need to develop the wheel before you develop a cart or something like that, as opposed to just a roller. Sometimes there's definitely the idea of you need things done earlier than later. So that doesn't mean I'm agreeing with, and I haven't really looked at it in any detail, all of what's required here, but I definitely like the idea of it. So there's a lot of good. I'm got to get used to it. It's not, I'm just used to having basically this bar across the top. I like the color scheme. I hate the turquoise on this, but I like that in the where before it was just, you had a binary choice of missions, this or this other thing. Now here currently we have a choice of 4 missions, and some of them are definitely focused supposedly on not just generic, improve this region, but stuff based on the history. Do you think Paradox next game will be Victoria 3? Well, I believe it's in development. I have no real inside information about Victoria 3. We all knew that. I think we all know that Victoria 3 is in development, along with, which had been, now obviously is out now, Crusader Kings 3. I don't know if it'll be next. I think Imperator Rome was a big wake-up call for Paradox. They had gotten lazy with it. I think at release it was an okay game. The last major update is finally where it got to where it should have been at release, in my opinion, at least, if not something like this. They just got lazy and it didn't go over very big. And I think they realized that, and they may have to be put more effort into their initial release of games. So, okay. Now, we have a scorned family here, but we only have 2 Maghreds, because we can't really put women on anything, so I guess they're going to recruit some more people, maybe. So we're stuck, because both of these guys have a job. So, but we will come here. We have one title of Philosophe. Now, I don't know in this game, and I am in no way, and I guess right now mostly it's just Rocco here, an expert on this game. Don't know if I were to pick somebody like him who is Kemetic and not Hellenistic religion. If it changes anything, but we're going to use him for philosophy and the religion strength there. So we're going to do that. Now we're also going to come here, look at our imports. Now, I don't know if anybody saw my earlier videos. One was really sort of frustrated on legions, and I found out that yes, we can only recruit one legion, though it's not clear here that there can only be, you can only have one legion currently for Rome. Okay, these are all the possible unit types this legion can have, because these are found somewhere in our empire. Well, as you can see here, they have elephants. I presume we get reinforcements there, but I want to have elephants. The Ptolemies had elephants. So, one thing I do like about this is that it's starting out with some imports. Again, those watching here may complain a lot about Paradox games. I don't like that Paradox games sort of starts with nothing and you build things. What? No, you gotta get tech is here. Okay. Okay. I can see the idea that maybe Egypt at this time for a standing army would only have, I learned use the middle mouse button, or often sort of the wheel, but push the wheel down to sort of grab and move this. I could not figure, for the life of me, I didn't, that wasn't an intuitive knowledge, and there was nothing that I saw telling me how to do it. So that we can look through here, but also come to here in traditions. This bothers the hell out of me. Not that there's traditions limiting this stuff, and Greek polis traditions, so Greek city traditions, Greek kingdom traditions, and Levantine kingdom traditions are the three that are open to us. I yet don't quite honestly know, and if anybody, we may figure this out after a time, whether we can work our way down multiples of these without canceling out one of these, or once we go with one of these, it's permanent. Okay. What I don't like about this is the Sarissa was perfected before Alexander crosses the Bosphorus and goes on his, rampage across Persia. And Silver Shields was his elite unit. By now, after, there were still maybe some old veteran Silver Shields and newly raised. Hey, thanks for following the channel. Do appreciate it. Very much so. This is either the old veterans or some new recruits into the old veterans units, often family members. I know they were doing some of that. And the Silver Shields was becoming sort of working for multiple units. So I don't know that that's really appropriate. But the idea of the Phalanx and the Sarissa, which is what they're sort of, I guess, basing on it, should be something known to the Ptolemies, should be known to Macedon, should be known to the Antigonids, should be known to the Seleucids at start. Now, maybe not to the Rhodians, not that they've not seen them. And I can give you a little bit of history. I've read a really great book called Legion versus Phalanx. I think that's the title. Or is it Phalanx? It's either Phalanx versus Legion or Legion versus Phalanx. Very good book. And he's a historian who looks at the histories and looks at about the 5 battles that they have documentation left on them, that where Legion and Phalanx actually fight each other. And he analyzes them and does a bunch of other research. Well, as what we know as sort of the Roman Legion is coming about, the Phalanx had been the dominant form of military fighting, and the only one that really mattered. Everything else was just sort of auxiliary type units to it. If you had enough phalanx, basically you won until the rise of the legions. And the legions overtake it, and he talks about why ultimately. But even as the rise of the legions are happening and previous dominance of the phalanx, he comments that there's at least one city-state that's sort of hiring out mercenaries, if you will, that are still doing the hoplites. The hoplites have a shorter spear, larger shield. Those are sort of the too simple thing to define them. How's the new update? Well, we're taking a look at it. I'm generally liking it. I mean, I still have problems, but generally liking it. So yes, it's doing good. So they still had the hoplite tradition, and this is, we're looking, almost a couple, 100 or 100 or 200 years after this time. So I could see at this time, at the beginning of this game here, a bunch of Greek city-states may still primarily be on hoplite tactics and not on... Oh, and the map is much improved. You get the idea of, impassable ridge here, and as well as, you can see things. Might not make huge differences on some of this. Also, it seems to be, though I don't know, I'm not entirely... I thought once you took a provincial capital, I thought it would automatically take the rest of the province. But in my earlier play, it didn't seem to, so I'm not too sure of it. Because I really hated the whole chase down each province and have the enemy also running around. And so you're playing almost a game of tag or whatever, trying to... Yeah, some of the stuff was screwy. So that seems to be getting better. But so at this time, there was still a lot of hoplites as the sort of dominant heavy infantry unit in the Greek world. And not all Greeks were, onto the sarissa. The sarissa is the really long pike, if you will. The phalanx is noted for the really long pike and a smaller shield, lighter shield. They're actually, in a way, lighter troops than the hoplites. There are heavy hoplites. I mean, there are heavy phalanx types, but they're wearing heavier armor. Some are wearing lighter armor. Some down to cloth armor, some at bronze cuirasses and bronze greaves. So it does change a little bit, but the idea of the smaller shield is so that you can have two hands on the sarissa and still have a shield instead of I forget what the shorter hoplite pike is called. So that's one of the things I don't like. And now we're going to see about correcting some of this. But what I don't like is the sort of blank slate, the tabula rasa of Paradox games, and that, here, okay, so let's look. Okay, now they can do modernized phalanx. So I guess this is where they start out with for the Greek Polish. So here's talking about, I guess, moving to, I'm guessing they're referring to the phalanx instead of the hoplites. So that would be their first jump here. While it's partially responsible for success, originally evolved out of the need for highly defensive armored formations used by the Greek city-states making. Well, no. The phalanx originally evolved out of the need for a highly defensive armored formation used by the Greek city. Oh boy, that's not what the phalanx means. Thank God. It's like light troop. Not good. Greek does change over the years, meaning, but the hoplites are in their tight formations well before this. Okay, well, I don't know how much bitching you want to hear from me, but so meaning I think some of this should be at start, and then others. I don't know that. Phoenician sailors. That's maybe something that you should. The Ejima cavalry. Now, I don't know how much of the heavy cavalry made it down into Egypt. The cataphractoi. The cataphracts is, you can see down, bottom down there. Yeah. So some of that, should be developed over time. I totally agree. And we can see the, development over time, improvement of the Roman legions. So, yeah, okay, idea slots. I hate the ideas that they want to force me into here. So let's come here and I want complex terrace. I want standardized construction and I think I'm just going to go, with tax farming. So I'm not going to get the bonuses. Monthly tyranny, national citizen, that helps, or happiness and desire for Freeman ratio cities. I don't really care. I mean, those would be nice, but I don't care enough about them to do that. Okay. Mostly I think I have enough food. So we're going to go for more output from Freemans. Now, there's some really good citizen or civic advances here. Advanced standardization, build cost down 10% I really want, and you need standard import. Yeah, I really want. And there's definitely things here I want. There's definitely stuff here I want. But what I really, really want is cohorts. Well, do I now? Oh, maybe not. Okay. We have a legion. Now we can increase the size of the legion by increasing the number of units within it and whatnot, but we only have one. Now, to get more, we need to go to Royal Army instead of Royal Guard, is what we currently have. Now, to do the Royal Army, we need to have cohorts, which is that invention. Get down there, and Egypt needs to be a great power. To be a great power, I believe, from looking at the wiki, though it may be out of date by this point, you need to have 500 provinces and or territories, not provinces, territories, and we currently have just under 200. So we're not going to get that anyways. So I guess, because I really want to get to that, but I don't know. Okay, well, since we're not going to get there that fast, and this would be my preferred path, let's come to civic advances. Import value, yes, that will help us out. Standardize mechanics will help us out. Construction costs greatly. Now we have 8 of these basically free at start. And I am not sure yet what generates more of this number. What do you think of Paradox plans for Victoria 3? Hey, Pino, how you doing? I really don't know about their plans enough to know what they're going to do for Victoria 3. Probably fuck it up. But that seems what they've been doing recently, so I guess people are pretty happy with. I have not played Crusader Kings 3. Played 2 some, but not 3. Don't own it yet. But I guess people are generally happy with that. Oratory advances. Okay. Divine Mandate, aggressive. Triumphal coins. That seems a very Roman thing. Just this one here, which isn't bad. Legion maintenance cost reduction would be very nice. So I'm going to head towards that. Capital import routes are good. Property, national tax. Okay, so that would be one more. We have 3 more to do. You do 2, 3. We could get to there with 2. So let's grab this one. You need to find ones that are going to fit your play style. How aggressive are you going to play? And how developmentally shall you going to play? Yeah, I've played a little bit of Vicky too, but not a lot. Just more comes in the realm of too many games to play. Okay, now we do own, and this is, I found this, didn't know this, we do own this little territory here. I think it's just this one, and it has a building on it, a fortress. Since it's a territory and not a town, we can't upgrade it. But yeah, we have this up here. Hey IKB, how you doing, my friend? Been a while since we talked. We gotta play Railway Empire sometime. More of that, finish some more off. Okay, guess there's not a whole lot we can do up here. It has food enough. Okay, just sort of a nice little position. So, what we're gonna do here is deal with the imports now. I know this is just starting, but Paradox games, you need to take some time to start. Okay, we don't have a lot of food stored up, but it looks, well, I don't know. Okay, well, I'm going to cancel our Pyrus. And we're going to import elephants. We're going to grab that up from Ptolemy down in the south. Weekend. Okay, maybe Friday. I know we're going to also be doing a live stream too, but maybe Friday or the weekend. I don't know. I do want to do some more of that. Now let's come over here. And we have 2 import routes here. We are importing wine. We don't need extra wine here. So we're going to cancel the extra wine. And we're going to import steppe horses. Let's get some steppe horses. Now, you will see when we come to the military legions, we can add cohorts of steppe horses and war elephants. So we can add more of that. Right, so now here. Okay, currently it is set up to have sort of the secondary reserve, whatever main group as being heavy infantry, primary front cohorts as archers, and flanking as light cavalry. Well, we have no light cavalry, and we have no archers. This isn't really a good formation setup for this. Well, we're going to change this to heavy cavalry. At least it's... click it up there. And we're going to put our frontal group as being light infantry, because we have those at least. So now when it starts with that, we have that at least. Right, okay, now it looks like we're going to have a little bit of a positive situation for income. I think most of our trade routes are sort of automatically done here. Okay, well, let's look at this a little bit more. I want to cancel this route. And I want to cancel this route. Oh, I don't like, because when it says cancel, because that's what I'm going to do, a cancel, and it's okay to just counterintuitive. Now, we can replace, well, let's see, I want to have, let's see, I want to have olives come in here, and we want to come in from, okay, now we're going to import a second group of olives, and we can bring them in from, yeah, Cyrenaica. Let's try that for a while. That way we are getting the benefit of plus 8% national slave happiness. So our slaves like us more. Okay, so slaves like us more. I think, okay, now, the other thing I want to do is we're going to start right away. We have 4 possible missions. The matter of punt, basically it's come down here and conquer things. I presume it hasn't changed, don't know, that it hasn't changed from before. Then we have the Greater Empire. While the wars of the Diadochi rage on, Egypt sits in a relatively safe position protected by air. Okay. This mission will be considered complete when you have asserted your dominance over the neighboring peoples of Nubia and Cyrenaica, exploited the possibilities offered by our southern borders, and set up relationships with the powers in the Western Mediterranean. The big thing is I don't really want to push down into here right now. Cyrenaica we may take anyways. The eastern border. Well, we very well, okay, this mission will be considered complete when Egypt had eastern border of the Egyptian kingdom will be secured through the conquest of Palestine, Phoenicia, Syria, coastal Asia Minor along the contended Diadochi. So basically taking a lot of this. Good plan. But what I really want to do is the Macedonian pharaohs. Pharaoh has reigned over Egypt for a millennia. That means 1,000 years, people. Deputy of the gods among mortals. I'm not going to read all of this. The holders of Divine Oath, but a little bit more. Pharaohs owned all the lands of Egypt, officiated. Okay. This mission will be considered complete when the prosperity of Egypt has been ensured, together with the institution of specifically Ptolemaic cults and festivals. That's the mission I want to start here. So we're going to start that. Okay, so it's just these. Okay, a royal capital. Okay, so we need to convert Alexandria to Metropolis. Is that now done here? Used to be under build. Over farmland. As you can tell, yeah, this is really the first time really playing it. I mean, I've played a little bit, but I haven't. This is to like build. There's no available building slots for that. Yeah, I know. I know it used to be down here in the corner for this. It's been fortified province. Yeah. Yeah, I'm understanding some of this. Okay. Some of these are new. We could build a port. We have port level 3. Yeah, earthworks. There are some new buildings here. Well, I don't know how to convert that to a metropolis from just being a polis. I guess would be the diff. Let's come over here. Okay, provincial right. Where do I click the button to make this into a polis? I presume that would be the same. Place to do it. Here. Yeah, I hope you're all enjoying this. I know this isn't terribly exciting. Watching some guy futz around with a game that he doesn't understand. I mean, it's probably something simple, but, okay. Yes, but how do I make... policy change? No, I don't want to change the governor. Well, you know, when all else fails, use your friend Google. Go to okay. Clear system right. No. These are all old, so those won't be it. Yeah, those won't be it. I need to make another ranting video for someone to show me. Oh man. Everybody looks like they want to move to go. Let me do this. Mm-hmm. Should be there, I thought. Maybe it's already down there. No, it isn't. What? Well, there it is. Okay. Where did the go to the old one? CIDIEs and where did the button go to form cities in Metropolis? I don't know, whatever, we're just going to do that. Post reply to my earlier thread. Maybe that will get an answer here. Let me move this over to another window so I can sort of keep an eye on it, maybe a bit. Refresh it every few minutes while we continue. Okay, so that's one thing. We need to get that to be a metropolis status. Okay, the clerk, the clerk, don't know. Okay, so these need to have city statuses and they don't. Huh. Okay, well, they used to, okay, let's move to here, it looks like. Fine, auxiliary, X. Am I spelling it right? No, Y, R, Y, R. Yes, that's it. Okay. Yes, the map has changed. Right, we need to get this to a city status as well. I want to relocate the capital. Ah, okay, it's over here. Nah, never mind. Okay, I guess it's over. No, I don't want that. Yes, it's this thing here. Found city. Okay, well, I guess that's city, but how do we get to a metropolis? Okay, found metropolis. Okay, there we go. Found it. Let me just go back and delete that other thing. Found it. Get it. It's here. Never mind. Never mind. Okay, so it's here. So we need population greater to or equal than 80. Hello, Das G. I have a question. How did the successor could take control of a territory like that, like Ptolemy taking control of Egypt? Oh, I'll explain that in just a moment. Okay, so we need to get to 80, and we're currently at 50. So this is going to be a long time before we even get to the beginning of some of these missions here. Well, here we can maybe do some of these. that one here we can, let's see, we don't have, well, we do sort of have the money, political power, yes, we have. Okay. And fill. I'm never good with these. It's Philoter. Philoterus, there we go. Okay, this also needs to be a city. Okay, both of those need to be a city. Yeah, I've changed the map. Okay, we're not going to do that yet. We're going to still stay on this mission, but we're not going to start yet. I know there's going to be a war coming up here soon. And I don't want to spend the money on it. Okay, here's what happens. Alexander dies in Babylon. Over here, I guess. Province of Babylonia, Babylon, whatever. Dies over here. Okay, now, he has a half-brother who has mental problems. I don't know what it is. Some people think that maybe he was poisoned as a young kid or as a kid or something. And although surviving the poison, he had mental problems. But everybody knew he had serious, like, intelligence issues. Okay, I don't know. I don't think it's Down syndrome, but maybe that. But he's, like, really sort of slow and stupid. So it's something's affecting his mind. Okay, so he has a brother who's, I think, a little older than him. A little bit. Okay. Yes, you can have papyrus. So he has a brother back in Macedon. Okay, back up even further. To become king of Macedon, here, the way you become king is you bury the previous king. Okay, and this is very important, he who buries the previous king of Macedon is the new king of Macedon. Okay, so I guess if you go into battle, with the king of Macedon, like start a civil war or whatever, and you kill the current king of Macedon, and then make a nice tomb for him and bury him over there, you're the new king of Macedon. Or, hey, if you're his son, say like when Philip II dies, Alexander, but his father is assassinated. So there's a possibility that his mother was, Alexander's mother was, but I don't think Alexander was involved in it. So he buries his father. That's how you become king of Macedon. And this is for generations. Right. So at the time, it's been a while since I've read all this. So at the time of Alexander the Great's death, he has his wife, Roxanne, who's pregnant and about ready to give birth. He does, or she does afterwards. And so they set up those who become the Diadochi here, these basically 5 guys, plus a council of about, 30, 100 other leading people, all agree that it's now a joint rulership between, Philip III, which is son of Philip II, Alexander's half-brother, who's mentally gaga of some sort. I don't want to, say what type, because we don't really know from descriptions. But is mental, is very slow-witted. I mean, he might be able to tie his own shoes, but that's about it, is, I think, the idea. He and this newborn baby are Alexander's successors. It's, I think, this Cassandros family here becomes the guardians, and they eventually kill off Alexander's half-brother, Alexander's child, and Roxanne. It takes a few years but they're killed off. But so long as they're alive, all these guys here, Lysimachus, Antigonus, Seleucus, not this one, but would be the elder, the father, Ptolemy, all of these guys all go on the basic sort of fiction that they're just holding together the empire for the coming, for the coming successor. Hopefully the newborn will be, the blood of Alexander, and Philip of Macedon is going to be strong and great and rule. Yeah, okay. So, there's a bit of controversy over where Alexander wanted to be buried. Some say, it's been a while since I've read some. Some maybe think out in Siwa. But I don't really know if he had a strong emphasis on it. Okay, so sometime after, months after his death, they get a funeral cortege, a procession that sets out from Babylonia of thousands of people. Okay, this isn't just 50 guys carrying a dead body in a wagon. This has like a wagon that's like you have a house built on it kind of thing that's moving towards Macedon, and they're going to take him back and bury him in Macedon. Well, remember one thing: who becomes the heir to the king of Macedon? Not necessarily the heir to Alexander's new empire, but to the kingdom of Macedonia. He who buries the last king. Okay? So, you have these generals. Now, Ptolemy is, and they call him in this game Langrid. Well, I disagree with the term Langrid for Ptolemy. Ptolemy's mother, to the best of my understanding, I forget her name, but we know who her name was. She was a very high-ranking woman in Macedonian court circles. She gets pregnant. I don't think there's any real talk that Langrid, I'm using the last name, is the person who has impregnated her. So this is an unmarried woman who's impregnated, who then marries, if you will, a noble in the Macedonian court. I believe, I don't know this, and there's other people that have speculated on this. I believe that the father is Philip II. I think Ptolemy, who grows up side by side with Alexander, who is Alexander the Great, and Ptolemy are both taught by Aristotle. Aristotle was brought for a number of years to the Macedonian court by Alexander, paid to come up there to teach a group of children, including Alexander the Great. One of the similar aged was Ptolemy. Ptolemy and Alexander grow up as boyhood friends. I think he's Ptolemy is Alexander the Great's half-brother. This is part of the reason why most Ptolemies are marrying each other, brother, sister, cousin, marrying, your aunt. They're marrying each other to keep the bloodline pure, because I believe it's important, not because ancient pharaohs did it. That's sort of the excuse I think that they put in, but they're really more Greek. It's the first one that I know of that's recorded Ptolemy to speak Egyptian is the famous Cleopatra, which is Cleopatra the Seventh. Cleopatra is a Greek name. These were all a bunch of Greeks. Most of the Ptolemies are marrying each other, brother, sister, cousins. Close cousins, not like in the South that somebody's your cousin 4 times removed or something that you're related to distantly. but close cousins, you know, you're marrying your niece or you're marrying your aunt, that kind of thing. I don't know if Ptolemy knew. Now, Ptolemy, I don't think is a threat to Alexander's rule because he is never publicly acknowledged by Philip as his son. So I don't think he is a threat to the dynasty. Meaning, if he he isn't like thought to be the next in line. It isn't like one of these situations where well, if Alexander dies, well, I'm the next one in line, so Alexander has to watch out for me. I think he was safe in that. I think that he was safe from the idea. So, of all of the guys, because again, these are sort of, I think by the age of this guy, because the original guys are all basically generals. They're all part of the companion cavalry of Alexander the Great. These are sort of cavalry that use the sarissa, the very long spear. And they sort of, the companion cavalry stays around, but those with leadership skills become basically generals or whatever. And a few maybe without good military leader skills sort of go into the empire administration elements under Alexander the Great. And so this procession that's going to go to Macedon, there's even, I'm wondering, was it even, because again, I'm just going off memory, people, and it's been a little while since I've read any of this stuff, that maybe he wanted to even be buried in Babylon. I'm not sure. But he, of course, when he wanted all this stuff, this was going to be 10, 20, 30 years down the road after his son is, at least, like young adulthood and going to be, around to carry on the generations. But, well, if I die, I'd want to be buried here. Nope. They decide they're going to take him to Macedon. Well, Ptolemy, who becomes Alexander's successor? He who buries Alexander. He captures the cortege and gets just about everything that's important out of it. I don't know how many of the people that come with him, but he gets, Alexander's body, and as we can see, no, I didn't want that. We can see here, the history of Alexander and the helmet of Alexander. He gets, his armor and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, I don't want to do that. And he buries him down in Memphis. Sets up a tomb. I think they may know where it still sort of was or something. I don't know. I think they do, meaning it's still sort of there. Buries him down in Memphis. Now, once Alexandria, the city, is properly built, he moves Alexander here, puts him in a golden coffin that is not just gold leaf, and we know this because a later Ptolemy, before well before the time Caesar shows up, needs gold, so he takes that gold coffin and puts the body into an alabaster coffin that's huge, like out of I think obviously we don't know where it is, but either it's the slabs are big enough pieces, and or it's out of one big piece of alabaster that they get, and they carve it out, and they carve it thin enough that you can see through it. It's a see-through coffin, and this is part of the tourist attraction, shall we say, of this mausoleum, is that you can go in if you get permission to go in. The average person off the street isn't coming in. Visitors like Caesar and whoever are getting to show up. You pay the right level of gift to the temple, they'll walk you through and, take a look at the thing. And so you can see Alexander's body that is somewhat mummified. He still sort of looks like him. And it isn't mummified like the Egyptians. They don't do that. It just sort of dries out because of the desert kind of thing. And so they I say solid gold as in it's not just gold leaf or gold, a thin gold plate. It's a thick gold coffin that they melt down. It's worth that, much for gold coins. They melt it down and put them in an alabaster one, specifically for him. Okay, here's the mysterious thing. No one the fuck knows what happened to Alexander's coffin. eventually. His body, we still don't know. It's just disappeared. There's this honking big, huge building in the middle of Alexandria. And people are going and visiting it, and Alexander's there. And then about, after the Christians sort of come along, it's still there. And then after a while, somebody's recorded in the ancient world, this is still there. It's Alexander's tomb? Oh, well, it sort of was over there. It just disappears. Alexander's body disappears. I think because of the rise of Christianity, the last cult members, the people that took care of the tomb and everything else, they spirit it out and bury it somewhere in Egypt. And there are serious people. One woman who is Italian or something, I think, but she's been funding, looking not maybe sort of for Alexander, but mainly she's looking for the famous Cleopatra. Who was also sort of buried there, and Marcus Antonius, looking for their graves. She thinks it's buried somewhere out right around this kind of area, but I don't know. The coffin disappears eventually. This is this is after the Christians are coming, taking over in this part of the world. So at the closing days of the Western Roman Empire, it disappears. Not of the Eastern Roman Empire, but of the Western Roman Empire. So this is how Ptolemy is assuring his. Now, why he's in Egypt? Well, all these guys sort of kind of like agree that as regents, this is too big of a kingdom to sit in Babylon and make the laws and govern it all. So we got to have regional, because the Persians used what they called were satraps. Satraps are sort of like governors, but are almost sort of independent, except they're not from the King of Kings, because that's sort of the way you would translate. It's not emperor, it's King of Kings, meaning that there could be other kings within the Persian Empire, the Achaemenid Empire, what we think of Persia, Darius and Xerxes and all those guys. There could be, other kingdoms, but the King of Kings is in charge. So if he shows up, he's in charge, but you're in charge of the satrap. But they'd often they'd make sure the satrap wasn't generational, and they'd periodically move them around so that they wouldn't get too much loyalty, so that they would, local loyalty, so they wouldn't, sort of like king governor, but they wanted to make sure that they weren't had a lot of local loyalty. So it wasn't the idea of the king of Cappadocia or some other, king of Armenia that was within the empire that might be, again, I'm just speculating on Armenia here, but that might have local loyalties. They tried to keep these guys as sort of like local kings, much more authority than we'd think of as governors. But they, tried to keep them moving around, so I don't know, 5-10 years, you'd be the satrap over here, then move you way over to here, and then, move, so, and swap them around, so they didn't have over loyalty. So their authority only came from being appointed by the King of Kings, not because of anything else. Definitely not generationally in an area. And so satrap was a very, very powerful idea, or leadership. And so that is sort of, that has already been put in place while Alexander, is using the old Persian system, sometimes using local Persians, sometimes using Greek, whether they be Macedonians or others, to be the local satrap, while he's off marching through Afghanistan and playing along the Indus River, and governing, being the satrap. Someone's being the satrap, I think he was Greek at the time, of Egypt, as it were, because Egypt had been under the Persian Empire until Alexander liberates it. So these guys, or maybe possibly their fathers, don't remember exactly which one, just he looks a little younger than maybe for the time, but I don't know. they sort of divvy this up. Okay, well, I'm going to go rule in Egypt. Well, okay, that's good. I'm going to go take this part. Oh, well, I'm going to go back and rule in, because this, again, is all into the, at least, whether real or fictitious, I don't know how much they were really thinking of it, looking out after for whoever's going to come as Alexander's proper successor. Somebody's going to go back and rule in Macedon. Somebody's going to rule out here, And so that's how they sort of split up the empire, as with the idea, and definitely through the time of the Diadochi, all of them believe, especially now they really only come out as calling themselves, and again, I'm just going to call it Basileus. Probably Basilius or something. I don't know. Basileus, Basilius, not quite sure. And I did look that word up recently. It has multiple meanings at different times in Greek. But around this time, before Alexander shows up, after Alexander shows up, it is sort of kind of goes back to the word king in Greek, which would sort of be rex in Latin or king in English, or König out of the German root. But it's really more boss, because none of these guys, to the best of my knowledge, at least the Diadochi and the Epigenoi, or however you say it, wrote it down, Epigoni, that's how you say it, which is the sons of these guys. None of them are like the Basilius of Persia or the Basilius of Egypt. They're Basilius and Pharaoh of Egypt, or Basilius and King of Macedon. Basilius is sort of like it's a performance-based idea. And you're ruling because not because you're anointed by God, not because you're a dictator, and there's sort of, whether in Rome or tyrant would be the Greek use, not because, Dusty, you're very right about the multicultural empire he was trying to build. There's a good documentary which I want to rewatch. Somebody found it for me again that I watched when I was young that very much talked about that. I'm going to rewatch it here soon. And so he's very much trying to do this, and like you say, multicultural empire. And so Basilius really isn't the Basilius, and at least the common meaning that these guys put it to is a performance quality. And you see Epirus, that sort of eventually springs forth here, is a Basilia, and it's personal rule. It isn't it's sort of in this part of the world that comes in, I don't know, some number of years from now. That it isn't a local cultural group. It's based on his sort of personal rule. So these guys are, their right to rule is their success at ruling, but they're not culturally seen as either a tyrant or as sometimes they are seen as king of Macedon, but that's not necessarily the king of Macedon, even though Ptolemy gets his body. Now his son, this guy here, Karanos Langrid is what they're calling him. He eventually does become king of Macedon for a while. When whoever it was dies, he's invited to come up to be king of Macedon. That opens the way for this guy, Ptolemaeus Philadelphus, basically Ptolemy brother loving. I don't know however you want to say it. I don't mean lover as in sexual whatever, but just because sometimes it's like father loving or mother loving. I don't think they're normally not marrying their children. Aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters, cousins, but he is the successor of this Ptolemy. This little baby here is the actual historical one. He goes off and eventually gets killed trying to rule Macedon. So yes, very. So it's a different sort of idea. So these guys here are not trying to limit themselves to a region for their legitimacy. They will the Ptolemies through their history will style themselves Egypt or Pharaoh here, Basileus or king, if you will, here in Alexandria, and Basileus. Come on, get back here, get under control. Okay. And Basileus with, here in Cyprus, which they rule for a long time. So a statue here will be in the Greek fashion, sometimes Greek and sometimes Egyptian fashion here, and Egyptian fashion down here. And so they present themselves in two different formats simultaneously. And the coins sometimes will, even for the same ruler, will have an Egyptian version and a Greek version of the coins. So basically they were at the right place at the right time and claimed to rule in the name of the future king, but became greedy and just killed off. Well, the successors are sort of killed off once they get to Macedonia. But yeah, it's that point, too much. And there really isn't a central idea. But these are all sort of leading figures and really talented men. So the empire belongs to the strong of us. Well, we're going to keep the live stream going, but I'm going to end this episode here after the talk of how Ptolemy and the other guys get to be the leaders of the successors for Alexandria. We will continue this soon. Nope, let's do. Oh, pause. Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer 1745 with my continuing look at the new Marius update for Imperator Rome, playing as Egypt. Okay, Papyrus will sell that. Stone will sell that. I want to do as much trading as possible, but not the sort of, don't want to give away food that I need. Now we are pretty soon going to be facing some wars. What we are going to do here is come over here in the legions. Okay, we now have some more unit types. These aren't cheap, but I think we can afford them, so we're going to throw on some horse archers, which I believe are still very good, and some more frontline. I think we're going to stick with just the one war elephant because they are damn expensive. We're going to do that. Yes, okay. So now we have this. Let's click on the actual army. So now we're going to change the composition. I know we just set this up. I wanted to show. So we're going to switch this to being horse archers on our flanks. Now they will use some of these other unit types on the flanks, but we have that and we have this. Now again, another note, how wide your army can possibly be effectively in the field will depend upon the type of province you're in now. So if you're in an open plains province, he who can get the largest frontings normally seems to win most of the time. On some of these narrower type provinces, passes and whatnot, it's going to be much narrower frontage, so a big huge army won't be able to envelop a smaller one. So think of that as you do. You think could never have such success without his father reforming the country and the army? Oh, absolutely not. The Phalanx, the companion, what we know is sort of the companion cavalry, Alexander's cavalry, which he's using even under his father. I forget the battle that he used under this sort of cavalry with a super long, basically a sarissa. I modified a bit, but is hugely impactful on the battlefield. And yeah, it's really Philip. Now Philip, of course, basically conquers Greece. Now the city-states still more or less, at least most of them, still exist. It's not, this map painted this sort of blue. It's sort of like they're all sort of fundries or tributaries or whatever you want to call them in these game terms. But he's basically conquered all of Greece at that point. So yeah, it's definitely that kind of thing. Both Anatolian powers. Okay. I'll pause. Oh, we already are paused. I guess we have enough cloth to sell. Happy to sell cloth, and we'll sell some salt. Okay, the Antigonids and their hubris and folly have chosen once again resume hostility. Yeah. Again, if you want the real challenge here, you want to play Antigonus at the start and try to hold what they have. I want to, shall we say, maximize my income here. Able to pay for things. Okay, I want good relations with the Seleucids for now, at least. The Seleucids did sort of have a decent relationship with hemp. Yeah, you can have hemp. With the Ptolemies. One Ptolemy princess goes off and marries one of the primary Seleucid heirs. Eventually one of, I think it's one of her children comes back and marries a Ptolemy. So that's about one of the few times that we know of somebody that isn't, because the Seleucids by that time had been intermixing with non-Greeks, but basically, and I know other people that are, I've seen some of the interviews, oh well, because there's one, we found this body of this woman that was buried somewhere in I think it was Cyprus, and we've determined that she was, from like the hair or bone structure or something. Excuse me. She was dark skinned. And this must be because of the time, and they may have good reason for the time. This must be Cleopatra, the famous one, the seventh. Sister Arsinoe. Arsinoe, another Greek name. Even though you see Arsinoe in the mummy movies. Nah, because that's way too soon before Greeks coming down there. But Arsinoe, half-sister. And so that must be her. Well, we know who their parents were. We know for generations, yes, there's one of the Ptolemy princesses goes off and marries a Seleucid when they're ruling over here. And then one of her offspring, one of her daughters, comes back and marries a Ptolemy. There's a couple possible wives that marry in that that might not be a relative, and definitely some of the relatives that marry do have other parents other than Ptolemy, so they're not like pure Ptolemies. But most all of the stuff we really think, or you really look at it, is probably all Macedonian, if not all Greek. So it's by the time you get to Cleopatra, the famous one, last Cleopatra ruling notice in Egypt, because we do have a Cleopatra. One of her daughters goes and Mauritania marries the king of Mauritania. This is after she's dead, and Rome goes and marries there. But last one ruling in Egypt, the famous one. Now she was almost all Greek. I mean, very much a Greek, and because what's her name that plays Wonder Woman? She is involved in making a movie on Cleopatra, and so I mean she's Israeli, so probably relatively right genetically, meaning Mediterranean. But yeah, and Philip raised a Greek city like a hostage and learned all the, what is that, weaknesses of the hoplites. Yeah, well, the Phalanx is more mobile, more able to operate on rough ground. Not as much as the later Legion. It has a smaller shield, longer spear, mostly lighter armored. And yeah, they're able to win. All other things being equal, the Phalanx will defeat the Hoplite. And the Phalanx is named out is the term for the small shield. Is what is the root of it. I'm not exactly sure. And sometime before that's being used there, I think it's being used by some of the peltists, guys who throw things or sling, stones as a shield for skirmishers, and not the heavier hoplitite or hoplites. We want to be French about it. Okay. Okay, we have a daughter born. Yeah, we'll do Cleopatra. Call her first. I wish you could rename characters more. I know you get to rename your children, but I wish you could rename family because they keep sticking silly names on them for the Ptolemies. All Ptolemy males basically are Ptolemy, because the Ptolemy isn't really used as last name. They really don't use the Langrid name as the last name. And you'll notice this. They do not promote the idea of Langrid as a name. Again, I think whether they believe that they're descendants of Philip II or not, or whether they or know they are, because maybe they just know they are, and it's nothing that's in any recorded history that we have, but they may know they are, or they just want other people to believe it. I truly believe either they are descended from Philip II, or they wanted people to believe they were descended from Philip II. Doesn't, God, I don't know. But it's all that. You named her Cleopatra. Well, yeah, remember, it's Cleopatra. The women in the family that are named, all the males are named Ptolemy, including now it'd be like Ptolemy Philadelphus. He's Ptolemy Sutor. Ptolemy the survivor is what that means. Soter is survivor. Ptolemaeus the first Soter. They will all have the name Ptolemy. They will all, have like sub names often, not always. All of the women will be named Arsinoe. You can see down here the fourth one up from the bottom, Arsinoe, or Bernice, or if you want to pronounce it, Berenike, probably more correct for the Greek, or Cleopatra. I misspelled it, didn't I? Damn it, I misspelled it. Yes. Yeah, I just misspelled it. Cleopatra. I just typing too fast there. Well, can I fix that? Probably not. Yeah, Cleopatra. Yeah, Cleo. I know it's Cleo. Just didn't spell it right there. Typo. Okay. Large ceremony be held. We need to convince the oracle is wrong. Legitimacy influence. Outdated superstition. Okay. Well. Yeah, we want to keep on the good side of the oracle. So we're going to send them money, make them like us. Yes, misspelled it. Dusky. Uh-oh. Prophecies continued. Gods are silent. As the days continue, the priests bring us ill news. It seems the gods have truly decided that there is no redemption. Those two blowbacks to our rules. Okay, well, even after that, we didn't. Well, listen, that isn't a guaranteed thing. Okay. Okay, we have seen our steward, Kalitos, Pelopid, as well as under his charge, have been doing a disappointing job. Trader will not be given anything. We don't want to get there. I think we can almost afford the loyalty hit. Not quite really, but okay. In defense of... Yes, okay, so here we go. We're going to war. To war, to war, we're going to war. So here's what we're going to do. Let's come here. We're going to go to levies. We're going to raise... He's as head of this province. He's going as Ptolemy. He's going to raise up. We already have some of the elements claimed for this unit, but here we're going to raise this levy. And we're going to raise this levy. Okay, now let's see here. Again, this army composition. Well, the center line is going to be light infantry. And they're going to march this way. We're going to combine these units. And we're going to give them... Yeah. Don't think it'll necessarily help so much, but we'll make him... Okay, so we... Trireme... Primary cohorts... No, okay. Linking cohorts. Well, let's do... That is the flanking, and the primary will be triremes. Okay, so at least they'll be in the right spot, or best spot we have. These guys here. Center main force will be light infantry, and then the cavalry will be on the outside. And they're going to come out here as quickly as they can. These guys are going to wait right here. Oh yeah, no, it's, yeah, like Louis or whatever. Oh yeah, no, it was, you know, so 3 names for women, 1 name for Ptolemy. Now there are, I think, a few cases where, because sometimes the main father to son, we're getting close to a long chance civil war will break out. Okay, well, what we're going to do here is bribe our way out of this. We're just going to bribe our way out of that war. We can't, we don't, I don't know if I made the right choice in doing that. Okay. These guys are going to come out here. Looking at our currently, okay, we're still having a positive benefit from money. I don't want to get mercenaries. Mercenaries were quite commonly used. I think these are prohibitively expensive, at least in the early days of the game. Okay, has fallen ill. It says interesting, well not. Oh yes. Glad for the notification. Let's come here and arthritis. Can't we okay, targeted by siblings. Wanna... Oh, here we go. Seek treatment. Gotta scroll down. Okay. Seek treatment. So you are going to go up to here. You guys are going to go besiege that fortification. Yeah, I just find all this. There was a whole world that was lost with the fall of the classical world that we only have glimpses of. At least that's how I view it. I'm just fascinated by it, as you can tell. I think sitting out here with the fleet makes this fall faster. I think. Nope. Getting in a bit. Oh, come on, click on. Oh, no, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to see the battle results. Oh, here we go. Okay, this is a little different here. Okay, that should devastate them. Now we're besieging that. Assaults from there. Where then where from there. So our relatively low fleet is going to sit out here. Okay, Seleucid invasion. Okay, yeah, they're coming into the Antigonids. Well, his mother married Langrid. I think it starts with an M. You can look a lot of this stuff up. I've saved some people that have done some, genealogies for them specifically. And I'm not absolutely sure as I'm sitting here whether she was already pregnant or she had actually had the child by the time she marries Langrid. But I gather she was visibly pregnant. And I don't know, and it was more or less an arranged marriage. And she was of high status, so she isn't just some, peasant woman or, just some, hooker or whatever. She's of status, and he's of status too. And so either he got her pregnant before they married, which is possible, and now Langrid, accepts Ptolemy as a son. I mean, he sort of like, yeah, this is my son. And then he has another son with the same mother afterwards. So, and which is clearly, presumably, as well as we know, Langrid's child. There's, to my knowledge, no hint or suggestion that it wasn't. But, yeah, so I don't think they used last names like we think of them today. Because I just don't know well enough. I'm not saying we as in humanity doesn't know. I just don't know. Because I know if I look back to about the time of the Roman conquest, you would have the situation for somebody in some of the Celtic sort of like Brittany in France. You would have somebody whose name is James Fitzjames, James son of James, and then he would have a son that he would name Walter. So his son would be Walter Fitzjames, and then Walter would have a son that would be maybe named it James. It would be James Fitzwalter. Now, later on, a few hundred years down the road, in, say, and that was like around 1066, give or take 100 years from there. Time you're getting around 1700, near enough, you have the situation where King James of France, or no, King James of England has an illegitimate son who's known as Fitzjames, meaning he's not having the king's last name of Stuart. He is acknowledged as the king's son. He's not in the line of succession because it wasn't his wife, it was just a mistress. Not in the line of succession, but so he's just given the name of, Fitzjames, son of James. And so the Fitzjames has become a family, and that Fitzjames name sticks. So eventually they are showing up as last names, but there's that sort of idea. I don't know exactly what's going on in Greece and or in Macedonia. Macedonia is a type of Greek, but Philip, early in his life, shows up to the to the Olympic Games, and they go, which is one thing is super wrong in this game. They go, yeah, you're from Macedonia. You're the like king or prince at the time. I mean, he was much younger. May have just been the prince at the time, you know, or whatever they would have been called. Yeah, we're not sure that Macedonians are Greek. Yeah, guys, yeah, we sure. Not sorry, you can't attend. You had to be Greek or Hellas. He comes back next game with, yeah, look, see, I'm descended from, I forget which god that Alexander the Great also claims to, because obviously the son of his father, claims to be descended from. Here's my family history. And they go, oh, look at this, genealogical scroll. You're descended from a Greek god. Okay, yep. You can participate. So he does participate in the next, whatever, 4 years or whatever it is. I forget exactly back then. So they do accept him the second time. But the first time, they're not quite sure if Macedonians are Greek enough to participate in the games. We'll see if they try to invade our province here. Zeus, is that it? Is that what you mean? I forget what it was that he was claiming to be descent from. Through, I don't know, Hercules or whatever whatever the Greek, I don't know all my Greek mythology. But yeah, you're claiming it. Okay, yeah, you're descended. Okay. You're just sort of pointing out these are, through one family line or another is through, and enough of a connection to known elites in Greece, whatever that means exactly, that they accepted it. Whether they actually believe he's descended from a god or just that he's descended from the right enough families that are established enough, and that can have various meanings. Worried a little bit about that army there. We'll keep growing our customer base. Ptolemaios, okay. Perimeter. Gains arrogant, how nice of him. I don't know if you were here, Daschi, earlier. The sort of famous teacher and probably main teacher of Alexander the Great and Ptolemy is, of course, Aristotle. Philip brings Aristotle north into Macedonia to teach a group of children, including Alexander the Great and Ptolemy, but it was sort of like I don't know, somewhere between 10 and 20 children that he was teaching. So, it's sort of the rougher parts of Greek civilization, but Greek enough to get Aristotle to come up and teach as a private teacher. Producer Macedon appears at the Basilius. Cassandros succumbs to the disease of kings. Okay, yes. Yes, Hercules, do not look too pretentious, but Hercules being the Zeus. Yeah, that kind of thing. And I don't know how much. Oh, they're besieging our fortress there, sacking. Okay, we'll let the looting be gentle, because we eventually want to own this. Okay, now. Are they going to swallow up? Now, notice, I'm not... Okay, Phoenician timber, Phalanx of Sidon. Sidon's rising in court. Disgruntled prince seeking aid in pressing his claim to his native city's throne. A reward denied by his Tiganus despite the service. We may have use for him. Okay, so we get another... Okay, now, I thought when we took all of the... fortresses in a province, all the province would come over to us. That was described in one of the videos I saw. If there was no fortresses in the province, if I took the capital of the province, all of the province, not just like maybe the next door cities become mine. Now, let's look here. Okay. Because I played, less than an hour of this before starting this stream. And So do we just out and out own this now? This city here? It's no longer occupied territory? So I'm not exactly sure how all this works. Yeah, we're gonna let the looting be gentle. Okay, that's just a territory. Settlement or whatever. We're gonna come up to here. Yeah, you're gonna march up to here. Okay, pretender support, low food supply. Oh yeah, because they're besieging our city. Okay, he'll lose loyalty, but he has plenty of loyalty, gain some corruption. That'll lose loyalty. I think we'll let him stay and I want to help Macedon fight the Antigonids right now. And I'm sorry to those watching now, or because there are a few of you, or those watching later. If I'm getting some of these detailed wrong, I label what I do here as historical commentary. When I work on a mod, or if I make a special video with notes and whatnot, then I will be much more solid ground, if you will, for the history. Let's just see. Okay, location. But for now, this is just me talking from memory. So look up things if you want to be sure of them. While using my smaller ones to clean up the little cities and whatnot. Okay, here we war in Africa. The Punic state, known for its taken upon themselves expand. Okay, so we could send aid. They would like us. We'd send 100. Okay, well, it's I know from earlier it's these guys. We sort of want the Carthage to oppose Rome. We don't want Carthage to be too strong either, so we'll send them some aid. I'm not even sure why this isn't grabbing up more local cities or territories. We'll leave Tyrus alone, let the looting be gentle. This may be also general but gentle. Okay, well there it did. Okay, there it finally grabbed up all the stuff around it. I guess it's just taking a while. Still a little too piecemeal for my liking. So I just feel like I gotta wander around the map. And yeah, for big cities, you need to grab them up, no doubt. Okay, so this area needs a governor from us. Okay, we have him. He's Macedonian, he's Hellenic religion. He's Boharic and Kemetic. I don't think these matter as much as they should, meaning I really think the ethnicity should matter for where you're ruling for the ruler. Maybe it does and I just don't know it. And he's a bit of a scorned family, so and he's a rather good finesse, so we'll put him in charge here. And the other one is basically Cyprus. what is it? It's Cu on the periodic table for copper, and that's because of Cyprus, because Cyprus is known for its copper production. Just another bit of trivia. Okay, 7 versus 9. He's Phoenician and Canaanite. He's Macedonian, but that's going all the way down. No, we'll put this guy up. I mean, he looks like he'd be better ruling an Egyptian province, but I don't know if I don't think it matters. But maybe it does more than I know. Again, if anybody knows more or thinks they know more, please, even if it's later, post it in the comments. I'd love to hear. Do you think Alexander's empire could have lasted longer if he had lived? Absolutely. One, partially to the disgust, not fully, but partially to the disgust of his Macedonians. Well, he himself adopts, at times at least, Persian clothes. He uses the Persian ruling system. So, like I'm pretty sure he does put a Greek Macedonian in charge of the, if you will, the satrapy of Egypt after he goes off gallivanting around. And it's no longer really thought to be part of the Persian Empire, and this Greek guy is here basically letting the Egyptians sort of govern themselves and sort of kind of scratching the surface of building Alexandria, and that's about all he's supposed to do, and make sure that there's a modest amount of, resources, money, food, whatever, going to support the empire, but nothing that the Egyptians are like they think they got a great deal. So they're quite happy with Alexander's rule. So yeah, I think it would have held together because because you got to remember, there are Greek city-states that to some degree are independent, and it can vary from, over the years, but to some degree under the Persian Empire. The Persian Empire is very much a multicultural empire as well. They're not trying to impose Persianism everywhere. Far from it. But they are definitely doing colonies at times, from I remember, into other parts, sort of like, the Greeks are doing Greek city-state. Because Bactria, way up in here, there's Greeks. They're finding, as when they do some research, they're finding, Greek cities here, Greek cities in Afghanistan. There's, they find like mosaics, 100, easily identifiable as 100+ years later after Alexander was there. They're finding mosaics of like dolphins in these part of the world. Now, none of these people ever seen a dolphin. So either they have these are Greek-style mosaics. So either they're continuing to copy from the original sources, and there's some evidence of this, there's Greeks that are here that go, yeah, there's nobody really paying me good money to make mosaics. Maybe I can go get a job way out here in Bactria. So there's these Greek cities out here in amongst, the Greeks would see them barbarians. I don't mean to diminish them. Sometimes they are sort of hill tribesmen barbarians. Sometimes they're just, Indian cultural people that are just different. There's both types going on. So Bactria is sort of and there were definitely Greek settlements prior to Alexander the Great showing up in Bactria and some of these places, because when one of these little Greek city-states along here gets sort of like uppity and rebels from the Persian Empire, they come in and sort of slash and burn, but then take away a bunch of people. They don't normally kill them all. They go and, okay, yeah, if they stay here, they're going to cause problems, so we go take them, their women and whatever, and found a little city somewhere out here, and you go set this place up along this river here and whatnot, and you're now way away from your rebellious support from the Greek mainland. You better behave, or those horsemen are going to come pounding down on top of you from out here, and we won't be there to help you. So this is Imperator Rome. Hello, mystic foes. And so Alexander was ruling through this. So all it takes is a focus of somebody to take over from him. So had his son by Roxanne shown to be of moderate promise and lived to be an old enough age that people around him, look at him to leadership, and those who become the Diadoche are old men, meaning they may have their children, they may be, we could sort of kind of take over, but not quite worth starting a rebellion against a acceptable successor. I think it would have stayed, because we see like the Seleucids. I mean, they rule from here. Eventually, they sort of have dual capitals, sort of like Babylon and here. In Antioch, well, I guess Antioch, maybe somewhere around here. But I think this is I think this is sort of the origin of Antioch. So they sort of have dual capitals because they're constantly trying to push to get control of the homeland, but they're also trying to rule out here. So we see the Seleucids rule for generations out there. Hey, call me. How you doing? Steam reviewers aren't good. I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. It is better than what we had. At least that's my judgment on this. Okay, yes, let the looting be gentle. We're going to keep moving up to provincial capitals while he moves to here. But this is still very early days for me. I mean, I don't know if any of you seen it, or sort of a how the hell do you do a video on a couple of things, and then once it was shown, it was simple, but it wasn't clear, in my opinion, prior to being shown how to do the idea that I can only have one legion. I mean, I can raise levies, but I can only have one legion, which I thought was sort of weird. One standing army. Size there is, yes, but not a specific. Can only be so big. I still don't know. Is this really my territory now and not just occupied territory? So if I were to sign a peace, would I get to keep all that I have here? Would I lose what I have up there, or would it, if I sign a white peace or something, does it go back? I'm not sure yet. Well, I think, so Alexander's, I want to get to China because we're here. China's just got to be right over here that we've sort of kind of heard about, because there is silk coming from somewhere out here they know about, and there's definitely some trade with something out here, but so they sort of know that there's stuff out here, and they know that there's steppes and horsemen and whatnot up here, but here's the Indus River. India is this is India. I mean, to the idea, remember, this is Greece. Greece is big. Okay? Indus River. This is India. India's big. Once we conquer India, then we're going to get to China, and then we'll be done. Oh. Okay, so this is, the Indus River is where his generals are starting to revolt. And so he forces them to march across this god-awful desert down here. Almost kills them, literally. I mean, he does have a little bit of naval support coming along here that sort of keeps them alive, but some die, trust me. But he gets them back here, and he's pissed at their sort of revolt. They're pissed at him. There's definitely people well, it's, I would say, more complicated than Hearts of Iron 4, for sure. There are events that happen. But, so, he's sort of pissed. They're back here. Some of the various satraps or whatever are sort of doing their own thing in his name. They're all claiming, I'm just doing the right thing. But So he's sort of got to put stuff to right. People are unhappy. And then he dies. I definitely think he was looking towards this direction next. For multiple reasons. He really, I don't know if Alexander or the Greeks ever understood just how not near the end they were. I mean, he really thought, just going to be one more river, and then we're going to get to the whatever in the coast, and we're done. And that, because that was out, because Alexander really, he goes up and into Bactria. This is Afghanistan here, and he's messing around in here and trying to solve all these problems. And he thinks he's like, yeah, come on, guys, just a little bit more, and we've achieved the goal. But so he's pissed and goes back. Now, if he's going this way, one, he can raise fresh new levies, let the guys that are getting old, getting wounded, getting whatever, get them rewarded, either rewarding, the state's lands, equivalent of governors, not necessarily like satraps, but, hey, yeah, you were, private first class. Yeah, here's your estate. You stay loyal. You get to rule this territory kind of thing, or something like that, under the governor. But yeah, reward all these people that have been good to you, and get more. And then going this way, you're not that far from home. You're obviously far from over here, but you're not that far from home. And he was definitely going to go west, in my opinion. That's my opinion. Okay, well, we'll see how this goes. Like, this is really a first look for me for this new stuff. Friends across the border, send them gold. Okay, we have gold. Judea, yeah, we want Judea. I would like Judea as a very friendly. Why aren't you capturing this? Because I'm not letting the clock go. That would be a good reason. Yes, gentle. Okay, we're going to take the capital to see if that has any effect there. We're going to keep moving for capitals here. See, I just, I guess I could march up to their capital there, which definitely gives me lots of war score. As you can tell, I have played a bunch of hours of the game, the standard sort of game as it been before. Any great expert on it, but played a bunch, sort of know what I'm doing, I think. This is, but there's a fair lot of new. I really, quite honestly, sort of hate this need to constantly micromanage these little armies. Conquer this, please. Conquer that. Conquer this other thing. Well, I want all of Cyprus. We're back. Okay. I heard that before his death, the training of the Persians in the Greek ways. There was definitely doing that type of thing, but as different rulers have found out, including much later Roman Empire, simply, long after the hoplites are really almost not a thing in Greece, simply going around to what had been Macedonia, rounding up a bunch of Greek men, giving them sarissas and the small shields, and drilling them for a few weeks or months doesn't make them phalanx troops. This game doesn't do this well, but basically you cannot. Well, they eventually do train Egyptians in the use of the phalanx, but they're nothing like Macedonian phalanx. Even, there's a constant effort by the Ptolemies to import, hey, come to Egypt. Macedonians, come to Egypt. And they're constantly, it's almost like a tourism brochure. They're constantly trying to get Macedonians to come to Egypt. Oh yeah, join our army. We'll pay you. Just join up. and either on retirement or maybe even before, we'll give you a land holding in there. You'll have an estate. You'll make money off of it. You can run it. But hey, when there's a war, yep, you're going to come and fight. But because otherwise, hey, if we lose, they're going to take your estate away from you, whether it's the Egyptians uprising or some other, Basilius that's coming after them. So you got to keep what you got. You got to defend the king. So there are somewhat multi-generational colonies that are raising it. It's a mental attitude. It's more than just simply taking a group of people and giving them weapons and giving them some drill. The East and one of the books on warfare. I don't think Keegan. I think, maybe it was Keegan or somebody examines warfare and the Eastern way of war and the Western way of war. The Eastern way of war wants to sort of annoy the enemy, and both sides you're annoying the enemy, and eventually one enemy gets annoyed enough and they start to leave and break, and then you attack. So it's that's the Eastern way of war. So it's sort of like guys running around on horseback, throwing javelins, shooting arrows, running around. And yeah, they've got their, sort of main frontline troops, but they're just sort of hanging out there with their big shields, fending off the arrows. And, of course, they have their own side of people running around with, peltas. And eventually, when they sort of kind of think the other side is breaking, then they attack. That's the Eastern way of war. And it's to this day, that's the Eastern way of war. You can see the various Al-Qaeda and the anti-Al-Qaeda type forces, the way they fight their wars. In going right now, literally right now, somewhere in Syria or whatever, they sort of fight this way. Where the Western way of war, and it's not just the hoplites, but the hoplites are very much, it's like, okay, everybody, okay. Well, yeah, we'll have a few skirmishers out in front because it's good to have them out there. They'll, go out there and sling stones. That was particularly the Greek thing. But also, Greeks really didn't do the bows. Not so much. There are some Cretan archers. It does happen, but they're mostly either javelins or slingers. But the real arm is the hoplite. And what we're going to do is we're going to go crash straight into the center of the enemy. And whether it's other Greeks or it's other peoples. But you also see this in, say, Celtic warfare, and that they work themselves up and charge the hell at the enemy. I'm not saying that they also skirmish. They have their skirmishers too, but they do impact. And sometimes it'll be, Celtic tribe on Celtic tribe, they'll, two sides of a valley, they'll get all up there, and then they'll just charge right into each other, just smash head on into each other. And so this isn't just a Greek way of war and a Persian way of war, it's a Western way of war versus an Eastern way of war. And so if you give Easterners phalanx equipment and drill them so that they can march around, they can march around appropriately, and then you go, okay, their mindset hasn't changed. They'll do the drill. This is what's shown generation after generation with trying it. They'll do the drill, but they aren't going to rush headlong into a different group of phalanx. Now, if they think their spears are long enough, they got some guys that are sort of using the sort of rather short Persian spears. You see the immortals. The Persians, the reason they were immortals because they had a thin veil over their face, and they always kept 1,000 of them, or 10,000. I think it's 10,000. And so whenever anybody died, they just replaced them. So it was always not that the individual wasn't immortal, the unit was immortal, and they never, there were always more of them. Sort of short spear, wicker shield. Yeah. Oh, hey, I've got this long spear and this good shield. If I can go stab you, okay, great. But it gets another phalanx, that big sharp pointy stuff. Keep looking over the shoulder. Can we run yet? Can we run yet? Can we run yet? Can we run yet? They never do it. It's now if the enemy, so if your side can go out there with like horse archers or archers and break the other side, and you can tell that the other side is breaking, then because there are. Egyptian trained men in phalanx drill eventually. Yeah, then they'll charge in. You know, if they really think the other side is either broke or breaking, then they'll go in for the kill. But only because that point. We are playing as the Ptolemies, which currently rule Egypt. And so we're pushing up into this territory, trying to take bits and pieces here. I think we're going to move in here and just besiege their capital. And so, yeah, and you can see this in, like, Marines attacking in the Middle East. They're being smart. They're not being stupid, because we can see, you know, casualty percentages and what that the Marines are doing very well, but they are definitely very much head-on, aggressive. Okay, we've won the battle up here, I guess. I guess we'll take that provincial capital. You guys get on board the boats. I am not sure whether exactly how Alexander dies. Whether it's a previous wound that goes bad, I sort of understood, or have heard, been told that at some point, or that he was possibly poisoned. Available decisions. King of... No, we're not going to release... I don't think I want to do this. Read more about the decisions. Our attempt to control the island of Cyprus. Cyprus were followed by the Antigua and one eye, but the old city-state of allies may be record in kindness. No, I want to control that. I want that. Oh, hello. Okay. See, they're there. Okay, we have monthly 1,400 now. What would be the cost of okay, that's where I clicked on it. Okay. This will cost you 6 every month. That's 2,000. So this would be 100. We can afford the 100 easy for a month. Okay, we'll raise you. We'll raise this mercenary unit. We'll give it a little bit of time to get organized. You come back this way. You come to there. So all of you watching, I know Call Me and DosG are subscribers or followers on Twitch or YouTube, but if you haven't already, please give the channel a follow or a subscription. Really would appreciate that. Okay, that yeah, that looks like a good order of battle type setup there for that. Okay, well, hopefully you can win. You outnumber him, but I know his... Come on, click. There we go. Well, I guess we won't win. Yeah, we could use the money. Well, that was sort of useless. We'll go attack them there then. I don't think we're going to... No, I think our men take some from there and a little more harshly there. So we're not planning on keeping this at the end of this time here. Let's move down to there. And yes, I don't really think that viewers now or later, this is going to be a long-term series. This is more of a experimental series. But mentioning that, let's end the episode, not the live stream, but the episode here. I want to thank you all for watching. Thanks for liking the videos. And like I said, if you haven't already, please subscribe and also comment below what you're thinking about the game. It's looking like an improvement to me. That's my current assessment. Maybe something will get me to change that, but we'll continue from here. Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer 1745 here with my continuing look at Imperator Rome 2.0, the Marius update, along with the new DLC that goes along with it. Trying to figure out what we think of it. Let's see what... Oh, let's... Okay, well, he's rushing away from me. Look, dude, you're just gonna go down into where I've got a castle. Oh, yep, you beat my ass. Okay, well. You come over to there. I know we're sort of kind of abandoning you. Yeah, we're gonna let the looting be gentler. Okay, more news from Macedon. We're now Ptolemic, the eldest son of the Diadochi. Cassandros has apparently been stricken with terrible illness. Okay. You get on board there. Egypt at this time is definitely a naval power, or becomes one, particularly once it gets Cyprus, because Cyprus used to have a lot of trees until people cut them down too often, too much. Well, that I think because it was constantly through the ancient world and definitely through the end of Cleopatra the Famous, we'll call her, reign, though she maybe under her, and maybe I don't know, under her and trying to create one of her great fleets that clear-cut it enough to make it somewhat of the wasteland that it is today, from the lack of, forestry. But you know, that I could say may be the case, or it may be a later time period, but at some time they do lose their trees enough that it sort of sucks. But before that, okay, you come to here. We want to trap you there and defeat you. While our armies that we've got to cast our fortress there. We need to besiege that. Shouldn't be too much of a difficulty. Oh, they let you go through Greek territory or Jewish territory? I didn't know you could do that. Damn. I'm gonna go back up to here. So you still have this goddamn... Ugh. I thought in one of the things I watched that said that once you take a provincial capital, you would occupy the rest of the province unless there is a fortress there. And I presumed it, you know, it meant for that political faction, you would get the rest of the thing. But I'm not digging this. I gotta wonder the... Are we at war with this guy? No, good. I'm sort of allied with them, but so I really sort of hate this wandering idea around. Now, let's see. I'm guessing he's going out here. He may be trying to swing around us, but I don't know if he... Okay, let's look here. Nope, he can't move through this territory, so he can't... I don't think he's going to come... Oh, there he is. Yeah. I get the idea that armies should be able to, you know, have some maneuver options and whatnot, and I would want... It definitely seems like unwanted chasing. Yep, he's going down this way. Well, we're here, so let's grab this. I don't know, it just seems like... How good is my skill at clicking to see if I can catch him in time? Click game, click, click, click. Okay. Yep, if I had an army that's, you know, light cavalry and light infantry, yeah, they should be able to outrun and outmaneuver a... you know, a heavy. And go to location. Okay, well, looks like we won there. Good. Oh no, we lost there. Why was I thinking? I don't know. Read this wrong. Okay, well, we lost. Oh, come on. We select that. We come to here. Okay, that's the way you're gonna go. Go. There's some way. Go up there. Okay, well, let's see if we can save that army. Probably sending fleet up there to pick him up. So I don't effing want to click fest. If I defeat an army, I want to be able to defeat him. Seeking a patron. Okay, yes, consider it done. Well, one thing we haven't really done, and let's pause. Need to pause this. Okay, arranged marriage. He is now 24 years old. Let's just by year. Okay, selfish benefactor. I don't know how you're selfish and a benefactor. Let's, all right, there we go. Make sure that we got some children coming. Okay. Well, since they're not coming down this way any further, we'll let you sit there and keep reorganizing yourself. You come to there. You come to there. See, walking along here, where did he go? This guy's good enough to take him on now, I think, because before, when it didn't work out well, okay, there he is. He didn't have much organization, or whatever you want to call it. Okay, well, he's trapped behind that mountain now. Maybe we can destroy that outfit before he can escape. Okay. So this is the most goddamn frustrating part of this. He's just going to sit there, I'm guessing. Okay, you're coming this way. Will you get on board the ship and we'll skedaddle. Not being able to split the armies up enough. No, just, yeah, I guess you're going to the right spot. Guess we'll take that spot there. I guess we can split these army up, okay. Well, I would like that bit of coast, but we'll come over here. I think generally the map is an improvement. Okay, you... No. I just keep thinking I'm on the wrong unit. Can you catch him? Can you hit him? Can you kill him? Where the hell are you going? I don't know. down to here, I bet. Yeah, this time hopefully you just defeat the damn army in total. Yep, good. There we go. Eliminated him. Yay. Oh, that's right next to a fortress. Unless I'm going to sit on that fortress, I'm not going to be able to keep that province, even if I take it for a while. I want to be able to get to the sea if I need to fast. Okay, Palmyra. Oh, the Seleucids have that. Okay, well, how interesting. Well, let's continue to clean up some of the more valuable coastal regions. Okay, can we, let's see, we're going to create a new unit. Let's select this. What? Okay, well, is this? Okay, wait a minute, here we go. Okay. You come to here. You come to here. You come to here. Okay, Antigonus' death has, combined with recent setbacks, fractured the stability of the Cyclops kingdom, because he was missing an eye. And the heir and co-king Demetrius, unable to hold together the expiring loyalties of his subjects, has abandoned much of the kingdom's claim of the other Diadochi while he retreats to lick his wounds among Greek friends. Our forces have advanced into Palestine, securing control of the disputed region, local as far as Syria, which will no doubt rankle the Seleucid Empire, although the Phoenician cities and garrisons of the islands of Tyrus remain loyal to the Antagonists. Let them run. Okay, so we seize Philistia, Sumeria, Galilee, and Decapolis. Antigonus subjects in Palestine become our tributaries. The first war ends in a white heath. Let them run. Wow, how interesting. Okay, oh, we also got Cyprus. Okay, that goes to Macedon. How interesting. How interesting indeed. Okay, well, you come and get on board the ship. Oh, well, I did want this because this was for a while ruled for a while as in I don't know 50, 100 years or something, was ruled this sort of part of the coast by the Ptolemies in Egypt. All the Ptolemies for a long time, much longer, basically ruling it until the end of Ptolemaic Egypt. Till I always Augustus is his imperial Augustus defeats Mark Antony. Okay, so levies, how do we okay, there, this governor's levies will stand out. Did we get back our little bit of territory over here? No, it doesn't look like we did. Oh, interesting. Okay, they ended up keeping that. But we got all of this. Well, no, we're not going to install that. Yes, we have exiled army, civil war. Okay, disloyal characters. We're going to bribe him. We don't want a civil war. I'd rather have a little bit of corruption from bribing. And these are the mercenaries. Disband units. Yeah, there we go. Let's do that. Gain some stability there. Okay, so we did very, very well out of that war. We got my main goal of getting Cyprus, which was definitely my main goal. Oh, and we have more trade routes we can do in the capital. Do we have a surplus of wine? No, we do not. I like the idea of having freeman happiness. Okay, we're going to bring the army home to Alexandria for the moment, including the fleet, the army, the fleet, whatever. Mithridic ambition. The city of Chios, governed by the Mithridates family, is subject has under the leadership of their new ruler Mithridates the Third. Mithridates decided to abandon the city to carve out a new realm, and Paphlagonia has led to this. Okay, very challenging. So he's fled his city to go try to carve out something like that. Okay, so there's still that. Okay, where else is he? Is he just ruling there? Is that the last Tigrin's territory? Okay, yes, precious metals. Yes, earthenware. Stone, sure. Marble, alright. We're trying for as much trade income as we can. Let's come down to Alexandria here. I prefer this up. Okay, we have maximum number of buildings currently. We don't have any aqueducts. Well, if we get enough money, we might. We need to have a free building slot for that nowadays. How interesting. Okay, oh, we need to get to 80 people. Are we at 80 people here? No, we're not anywhere near 80 people yet there. Here though, that is, okay, we're currently a settlement. We want to found a city. We have the money and the political power to do so. Let's come over here. And okay, we also up there want to Okay, a stereotype of incompetence. It seems the governor Euclides has mismanaged his estates in the province of Apennine to such a degree that there are reports of food shortages across the area. It seems the fool tried to introduce a novel system of irrigation without any knowledge of agriculture, ruining most of the harvest. Okay, strip his estate and help the needy. Okay, we'll gain popularity, but we have plenty of that. We'll lose loyalty. We don't have plenty of that with him. We'll lose some money. Well, that's gonna mess up things even more. The man is a governor, not a farmer after all. We'll lose some popularity. We'll gain some corruption, unfortunately more than I like. We'll gain loyalty. Okay, we'll increase loyalty, food shortages. Okay, we'll do that. Get the balance going here. Okay, let's rise of Pergamon. That's what I was trying to think of earlier. The founding of Pergamon. I was trying to remember that earlier. Where is Pergamon? Is that there's a city-state in this area? Oh, there it is. Okay, so here, let's. No, I want to. There we go. Okay, so they're now a tributary of Egypt. They're now a tributary of Egypt. Good. These guys, they're still a tributary of Antigonids. Where the hell the Antigonids are? Where are the Antigonids? Oh, the Antigonids are what? Rhodes? Well, that's Rhodes. Where are the Antigonids? Now, I know they have this little bit of territory. What's now? Are you just hanging out in a little bit of Greece there? Oh, we have a little bit over here. Okay, well, I don't know why you'd want to be loyal to them hanging out over there. Okay. And well, they are two, and these guys, these coastal city-states are there, but at least we got Judea as a bit of a puppet ally, whatnot. Gemstones, yes, you can have gemstones. Okay, well. I think we're gonna build. I like building aqueducts. Ideologically, I like building aqueducts. Now, of course, we have to watch out for the Seleucid. Diabolical. It seems that the Antipatrid when I hear it, and I can probably say it. Have orchestrated a plot to subvert politics in the once mighty city of Athens through a nefarious scheme. Their lackey, Lacrid, has been elected Archon with a board with broad emergency powers and reintroduced a Macedonian garrison to ensure compliance. Diabolical. Athens is now a foundry of Macedon. Okay. Interesting. This is definitely more depth than what I was used to in the original game. Now we want to keep the Seleucids friendly with us. For the moment, I'm not going to try to have ambitious games on getting there, and they can have their little port out in the Mediterranean. I would like to get more territory towards home of Macedonia. Okay, so where is this? Okay, there's Canopus. City status. And here, 2 marketplace buildings and 2 taxes. Okay, I'm going to reduce that down. I don't need all that library, I don't think. We're going to do an aqueduct, because aqueduct, well, I guess it doesn't as much. It used to do not just population capacity, but also attract more people. So I guess the port is population, migration, population, speed, migration, attraction. Okay. Okay, slave mills. Okay, slave mills now. Local civilization is up from these. Okay. Slave output is up from these, which before it used to just be slave happiness, which is their local slave desired ratio is up. Okay, for the mill. Forum. Monthly food modifiers now because of forum. Okay. Virtual loyalty civilization. Yeah, I'm not. I like the research points, I like the civilization levels, but I like the port size here. We'll see what we can do. I want to get this to a metropolis. Get that royal capital. City of Sages. Stuvi. Attacks. I think we already have a free provincial investment, do we? Yeah. Maybe we want to increase the building. Fine, okay, slaves needed for surplus -4. Population capacity down, local defense, hostile efficient up. Guess we want to mainly do fortification levels. Yeah, some of these buildings are much more useful now. So there's limited number in any given territory. I'm seeing these interesting. Interesting. Why don't you either disband or go to one of your little allies or go home? Or we're paused. I don't want to be paused. Rations are accumulated when our technology increases. It allows us to up new inventions through the zeitgeist of our nation without having to invest in gold. Good, I like that. I do like that change. Okay, Okay, Ptolemy gets cancer. Now, Ptolemy, yeah, he lived into his 70s, I know that. At least because he was an adult by that time. Okay, you should probably, oh, you already are married, okay. You don't have any children yet? Get children, we need heirs. Potential. Okay, here, well again, let's make sure we need 2 marketplaces and 2 tax buildings. Okay, so let's start with a marketplace. We do have city status. Okay, so I guess we're going through the process of getting city status. Oh no, we. I don't know. Give it some time. Did I pop that? It does not have city under construction. On city, okay. Well, okay, found city, here we are. Oh, that's it. Okay, I just hovered in the middle. We're paused, unpause. Okay, the protected we have offered. Sumeria has made a lasting impression on the people. They have approached us asking to become more closely integrated into our country. Okay, stops being a tributary. Okay, I guess we can take them as a lion state. Be a temple here. No, I don't know. Sidon, Samaria, Ionia, Sidon. Oh. Okay, following the followers of the Giza Pyramid complex, there is strong religious following practice near the Giza Pyramid complex gathered by Calliston Leonid. The followers are holding their own ceremonies in front of large gatherings of people upon the steps of the colossal entryway. There is no evidence that the ceremonies of this kind have any benefit, but there's also no evidence that the contrary is true. This is a distraction there. There are plenty of religious places. Loses loyalty. Okay, basically all loyalty gone. Gets political influences, loses stability. So popularity a little bit. We lose some national tax, gain omen power. I guess this is the least damaging. Element here. Okay, we'll not complain about Macedon. Oh, let's reduce. Okay, let's economy. Let's reduce fleet maintenance and fort maintenance. Yes, you can have camels. Trade influx. Okay. Yep, I guess we'll go with that. Get more people. I don't know that we need this fortification, so we're going to right click and remove that. But let's come out here. Let's take a quick look. We have here, we should have fort here and fort here and a fort here. That will more or less secure our border with the Seleucids. Keep them from getting too uppity. Let's look at our levies for a moment. Okay, so Egypt, yeah, we know about that. Cyrenaica, Nubia, basically nothing. Upper Egypt, a heavy unit. And Syria right now is light, heavy, and light infantry. Okay, well. Palestine, right, okay. Well, I think we're going to end the episode here. I'm very interested in the new developments of the game. Not entirely satisfied with all of them. I think, to an extent, the original release was just such a disappointment with people. It's just hard for them to like it because it just, isn't EU4 or Crusader Kings 3 or whatever that they just love. But I don't think it's bad. Got my problems with it. Certainly do. Well, thank you all for watching, and like I've said, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, like the videos, and I would really like to hear your thoughts. Tell me I'm wrong for some reason. I mean, as long as you give me the reasons, I'm happy to hear it. And I may end up agreeing with you if you give me good reasons. So, yeah, please post below. Share this on other media. Love to have you watch more stuff. And of course, if you want me to continue this series, please let me know that you want to see more of this. Do this playthrough or start again as I learn more. One of the two. Thanks so much. See you next time for more, yes, even more historical gaming. Okay, well, let's save this. Save game. LP. Don't know that there's really anybody out there, not too many people if there are any. But I think I'm going to be ending this live stream as well. Thank you all for watching. I don't know if Ghost G is still around or call me, but thanks so much for hanging out with me. We may do this more in the future. We'll see, but check out my other stuff. See you then.